So this is about setting the viewing rectangle on your calculator so that you can see data points on your calculator. So let's say you have this information. Let's say they want you to plot these points. And so it is -2 to, let me get that negative. Here, let's start again. So -2, -2. We have -1, 3, and then we have 1, 2, and then we have 2, -2, -3. I mean, okay. And then they tell you this, and this is something that's kind of strange to people at first. And then it says by and -4, 4, 1. Okay. So anyways, we want to, this is actually our viewing window right here on the calculator that we are going to use. So this number here is what we call the X minimum. It's the smallest unit on your graph. And this one is your X max. That's your largest. And this is called X scale, meaning how you're counting. Like if I started at -4, then it would be -3, -2, -1, 0, and all the way up to 4. So that's what that is. And it repeats for the Y value. So this is the Y minimum. This is your Y max. And then this is your Y scale. Okay? And so this is your setup. So let's say you grab up your calculator, okay, and I'm going to move it over to the other side, okay, over here, okay, so we can see everything. So we turn on the calculator and we hit clear, and if we have an equation in here, let's go ahead and delete that out. We don't want that there when we're doing it. So what we do is we go to the window here and we set up the window. So here's our window feature, and we're going to use these numbers to put them in. So here's your X minimum, so I'll type in -4, and then I'll type in 4, and then 1, and then it's -4 again, and then 4, and then 1. Okay, now when I hit graph, you see that. You see that it's counting -1, -2, -3, -4. That's where this -4 comes from. And then the 4 goes this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And up and down as well. So 4 this way and 4 this way. So that way we see it. So now we're going to graph these points onto the graph. So to do that, we do that in the stats button. We go into stats button. We want to put in data, so we're going to edit it by hitting 1. And so you should get a list 1 and a list 2 on your data set. So I'm going to put in all my X values, and those are here. That's going to be the list 1 here. So list 1 and list 1 and list 1 and list 1 is these values, and then list 2 is the second one. So that's what I'm going to do when I put these in on this. So I'm going to go ahead and type those in. So I've got -2, I have -1, then I have 1, and then I have 2. Now I move it over and get into list 2, and I'm going to type in -2, we have 3, and then 2, and then -3. Okay? So notice that these 2 points, these 2 numbers go together as a coordinate point. So -2, -2, -1, and 3, just like you see here. Okay, so these are the points. Now, in order for you to see these points, we have to turn on what's called the stat plot. So to turn on the stat plot, it's blue. You have to hit the second button and then the Y equals to get there. And notice it's off. And so we want to hit enter to turn it on. And so I'm just going to hit enter to turn it on. Now it's black and blinking, which means it's on. And then everything else should be the same. You should have a dotted line here and picking list 1 and 2. If you don't, then you need to reset your calculator by clearing everything out and resetting it. And that's done with the memory button here. Okay, so if you get stuck and you're having that kind of issue, just talk to me and I can tell you how to reset that. Okay, so now if I hit graph, I see my data points. Okay, I actually see my data points. And so this is how you set your windows. Okay, and then here's your data points. And that's how that works. Now, if I had set the window too small, like let's say I set it to, instead of this being a -4, let's say I set it to -2. So I change it to -2 and I hit graph. Notice I'm not seeing all of this point. And that's why I want to make the window big enough so I can see the points. Because if I had set the window, let's say window to -1.5, okay, and hit graph, I won't see the point at all. And so I want to be able to set my window so that I see all the points. And so that's why it's important to know what window setting to set. You're always picking the smallest that will make you see all the data X values, and then you're going to pick all the largest X and Y value to see them all in there. So it's important to set your window big enough to see all your data points. And so that's the question you always ask yourself is, when I'm setting the window, if I'm looking at my X value, which one of my X values is the smallest? Well, it's -2, so I need to go a little bit smaller. So I could have picked -3, but we did -4 instead. And then I look at my X value and say, okay, which is my biggest X value? Oh, it's 2. So I could have gone as big as 3. Okay, and then set that window. So this could have been my X piece. And then for the Y, I look at the Y. What is my smallest Y value? Well, that's -2. So I could have picked -3 for that. And then what's my largest at Y value? Well, it looks like it is 3. So I can go there. Oh, but I changed my mind. Take a look. -3 is the biggest, so I probably shouldn't have this. So I should probably change that to -4, just like they had. Because now when I go back to my windows, I should be able to see all 4 of my data points with even this new window. So if I go back up, change it to -3, and then make that 3, and then don't change that one, make that one -4, make that 3. I should still see all my data points, and I do. This one's cut off, so I don't think I really like that. So I probably want to go a little bit bigger than that, because that's the -1, 3 in it. So probably I should have made my Y value, I should have made this 4. So let's go back and we'll change that. So we go back to the biggest Y value and make that a 4. So now when I graph it, yep, now I see all my points. But I've gone even a little bit smaller, haven't I? But still, I see all the data points, and that's all that really is important. So knowing how to set your window is important to see all of your graph and not just part of your graph.